It's payday here in Atlantic City at the 2006 United States Poker Championship.
All I wanted to do is get you out of the hand.
27 players have survived the week-long hunt to make the money.
Price you in there, buddy.
Well, at least I'll make the money today.
And share in the over $2.5 million purse.
Chips are falling where they be.
And the big bone going to the winner of this dogfight is nearly $900,000.
Didn't look good until the river.
We unleash the poker hounds right now.
Yes.
The dog-eat-dog world of the USPC continues from the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Hello, everybody. I'm Lon McCarran along with Norman Chad. It is moving day here at the USPC. With 27 players left, you can expect some real jostling in the field. 100,000 chips do not wield the power they once did. Look for the shorter stacks to really push the action. But, Norman, no doubt they're going to run into the youth movement that has dominated this tournament.
You know, Lon, you can play poker until you're 100, but right now it pays to be 20-something. Here are the names atop our leaderboard. Jordan Morgan, 22 years old. Alex Jacob, 21. Michael DiMichele, 21. Devin Miller, 21. All of them are barely legal and very lethal. And with just 27 players left in the field, each has a great chance to become the youngest U.S. poker champion ever. I'm just hoping they don't have kid brothers and sisters who'll be taking our money into the next century.
All right, let's meet some of the players who will be seated at our arena feature table.
I'm Jordan Morgan from Norman, Oklahoma.
My name's Devin Miller. I'm here from California.
Karate Mike Santor from Galloway, New Jersey, trying to make another run at the final table.
Those three gentlemen are the top three chip stacks at this arena featured table. Jordan Morgan is second at the overall tournament lead to Alex Jacob, playing out at the Taj Poker Room right now.
We've rounded up the usual suspects here, Lon. If a crime's been committed, look no further. It's somebody here.
Eric Cajolet with a suited 9-8 will limp in. The blinds at 1,500 and 3,000 and a 500 chip ante from each player at this table. Dan Shack in the blue shirt folds. That is Harry White with the overalls and broken Tipperello, and he will kick it in. And to the table leader, Jordan Morgan, Queen Jack offsuit, and he's going to make the call. As does Brandon Adams with 10-9 and Devin Miller in with a 5-deuce. 4 players to the flop. It is 8 Jack. Morgan catches trips. Cajolet a pair of 8s and Adams with an open-ended straight draw.
And Brandon will check.
Devin Miller missed the flop, but he's going to bet 12,000 now. Cajolet.
Devin Miller sticking his head into a vice there. I don't think it's going to feel too comfortable. 5-deuce makes the bet.
And Cajolet with his 8th folds. Jordan Morgan, Queen Jack.
Morgan had a 4.0 grade point average his 2 years at the University of Oklahoma. And he's got a pretty good GPA in poker, too.
And he is going to raise it up to 35,000.
Devin Miller says he likes gambling, golf, and girls. Heck, I like gambling and golf, too.
Raise.
Boy, he does like gambling. There's a stone-cold bluff, and he's picked the wrong spot.
Last I raised.
I know.
That's Miller, very aggressive, is re-raising 40,000 more. Morgan with the trip jacks. Moves all in. And Devin Miller kicks it in immediately.
Easy lay down for me. Real easy lay down.
Didn't have to think about it too long.
Jordan Morgan is now the tournament leader, approaching 600,000 chips. Out at the Taj Poker Room sits the former chip leader, Alex Jacob, but also let's take note of the 3 short stacks at this table. Chris Reslock with just 70,000 chips. Tony Cousineau with a little more than 63,000. And Scott Fishman with just over 105,000 chips, a double bracelet winner from the World Series. 2 players already in this hand. Michael DiMichele on the button with ace-6 going up against Alex Jacob. King 9 of diamonds, the 2 big stacks heads up.
And it's 21-year-old against 21-year-old.
And here's the flop. It is deuce and a couple of trays, only 1 diamond.
It's a tough spot today for DiMichele because he's got the big stack to his left, and it's Alex Jacob who's quite aggressive. Of course, this is one hand where DiMichele has position on Alex because DiMichele has the button.
Both check to the turn. DiMichele now with a straight draw. Jacob got no help, but he will come out with 14,000 chips.
Yeah, nothing there for either player, and Alex trying to take it down right now. This is a tough call for DiMichele.
DiMichele knows going up against the bigger stack, all his chips could be at risk at any moment. He'll make the call.
And that's a good read from Michael DiMichele. And Alex is thinking, damn, he called. I'm in deep doo-doo.
So these two will go to the river. River card is a 6, and DiMichele gets the check mark. Pairing is 6. Jacob will be first to act. And he's going to bet 17,000.
Call.
DiMichele with a nice call.
I love Alex's facial expression when he gets caught trying to steal the kitty.
Whatever you got, you beat me. And DiMichele will take the pot. That adds about 44,000 chips to his stack. Alex Jacob slips down to 492,000. DiMichele has moved up to 483,000, so a battle brewing between these two for the table and potentially the overall tournament lead. To the outer table now, and all in from Herbie Montalbano, his last 72,000 chips into the pot.
It's huge.
Montalbano jousting with Eric Bankoff, who's considering the call.
Bankoff seemed a little more relaxed when he had a lot more chips. This would be for most of Bankoff's chip stack.
Bankoff with just over 100,000.
I've seen these lose to aces too many times.
Bankoff folds pocket tens.
Too many times in this tournament. We're good later.
Montalbano's tight reputation induces Bankoff to kick his big pair.
I might have thought about it a little longer if it wasn't you, Herb. You scared the hell out of me. You would have been bummed out had you called.
So Montalbano survives his all-in. To the feature table, Chris Reslock raised it to 9,000, and now Vinny DeVita moves all in with his final 49,000 and pocket threes.
I'm all in.
And Augustine Mendez moves all in with his pocket tens.
3 Jersey guys, but Reslock's not long for this hand.
I know I probably knew I'd get you to fold. I only have 3.
And DeVita is in trouble. A couple of threes going uphill against the tens of Mendez.
Mendez plays a pretty solid game. DeVita knew he was in trouble when Mendez called.
So Vincent DeVita at risk. Mendez, who has been very consistent throughout this USPC, with a chance to pick up all of DeVita's final chips. Here's our flop. It is deuce, ace, deuce. No immediate help to DeVita. Mendez still leads.
DeVita still looking for a 3 or running cards for a straight.
And a queen narrows his chances dramatically, though.
DeVita now down, possibly to his last card. It appears to me he needs a 3, and I can't remember the last time we saw a 3 on the river line.
Well, we don't see it now. It is a jack. Augustine Mendez will win the hand and eliminate Vincent DeVita. So our march to the final table continues at the U.S. Poker Championship. Welcome back to the 2006 United States Poker Championship. We pick up action at the Taj Poker Room feature tables. Scott Fishman has a gut shot straight draw, and he is trailing the pair of kings of Michael DiMichele. Also in the hand is Alex Jacob, who missed the flop. Action on Fishman. Fishman is going to make a bet of 32,000 chips on that draw.
Fishman hoping that ends matters. But life is seldom that simple, Lon.
DiMichele next.
Yeah, DiMichele's going to prove to Scott with those kings that it ain't going to end matters.
And he's going to make a raise to 64,000. Jacobs folds right away.
And that should end matters for Scott Fishman in this hand.
You got a king?
Yeah, he's got a king. And he's got a nice shirt, too.
And a lot of chips. DiMichele's been on a nice run to get himself in good position to win this tournament.
Want to win.
Fishman moves all in.
It looks like he wants to lose.
And an immediate call from DiMichele. It cost him just 14,500 more. Fishman now at risk.
I don't like that play, Lon, but what Scott's doing there is you put pressure on the other guy, and if the other guy has anything less than a king, he probably lays it down. You know, DiMichele might lay down their pocket jacks or middle pair.
Queen on the
That doesn't
turn.
change anything. I still need a 6.
This is not a 9.
Yeah, king's up for DiMichele.
Yeah, a 6 and a 6
right.
only for Scott Fishman, or his USPC is over.
And now the river card. It is a 9, and that is not enough for Scott Fishman. The 2-time World Series poker bracelet winner has been eliminated from the USPC. To the outer table, once again, we find Eric Bankoff in action, reaching for chips. And he does put in a bet of 42,000. That's after a flop of 8-9 jack. He's up against Jeff King. King's turn to act.
Play a different hand, Jeff.
What's that?
Play a different hand.
Sounds like Bankoff trying to take king off of a draw.
We saw Bankoff get forced off a hand just a moment ago, now trying to push king out. And king moves all in.
Paul, you have jacks?
Ooh.
Oh, Bankoff's trip nines are dominated by king's trip jacks.
Bankoff's going to need a 9 here on the river.
The river comes up short, and Eric Bankoff, who had been such a force at this tournament, is gone from the USPC. So the field has been thinned to 24 with 2 quick knockouts.
I had a little time, but, you know, it's a day where I'm playing to win. I'm not going to sit around. I could have sat there with 100,000 for the next 3 hours, but, you know, I decided to play for the win, and, you know, it didn't work out.
I had a great time, you know. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I wish I would have made it to the final table and won the whole thing, but I just ran into a better hand, that's all.
All right, to the Taj Arena featured table, and Harry White moved all in with pocket 9s. He was called by Dylan Membrino with pocket 8s. Membrino in trouble, but has White covered, and another 9 for White.
And White almost assuredly will survive his all-in. Membrino needs runner-runner clubs or runner-runner 8s to knock him out.
And now the turned card is a 5 of diamonds. That's going to end it. Membrino drawing dead, and White doubles up.
I'm not sure if Harry has a change of clothes if he makes it to the final table.
He does have 67,000 chips to play with now. All right, let's go for 1,000 chips to play with now. All right, let's go from the arena to the Taj Poker Room, where Tony Cousineau with pocket queens has moved all in. He got a call from Alex Jacob holding pocket 10.
It's like I'm in trouble again, huh?
Yeah, I got a real hand.
It didn't cost Alex a whole lot from his chip stack. An easy call for Alex with the pocket 10s. Cousineau in great position.
Alex Jacob, one of the top stacks in this tournament. He's in danger of handing a bunch of them over to that guy, Tony Cousineau. So these two, the queens versus the 10s, going to the flop. Tony Cousineau all in with the queens. And the flop, oh, there's a 10, and Jacob hits his 10 for a set.
And Tony Cousineau, a pro's pro, takes the pain well.
Alex Jacob with a chance to knock off one of the great grinders. There's a 9 and some outs for Cousineau.
A lot of possibilities.
Jack. Oh, my God. I'm open-ended.
Possibilities.
A jack or a queen, and Tony takes the whole pot on the river.
I just want to tie.
And with a 7, they tie, split it. Otherwise, Tony's done.
Well, indeed, it's a 5, and Tony is done. Alex Jacob knocking off this constant tournament presence, Tony Cousineau. He'll cash again, though he still comes up short of winning his first major tournament. Alex Jacob now has retaken the tournament lead after knocking off Tony Cousineau in 24th place.
At that point, I had about an 82% chance of doubling up to about 140,000, which looked like a great spot. And, you know, they peeled off the flop, and the first card I saw was a 10. At least I didn't faint, right?
Now I know how you win these tournaments.
Yeah. Every time I get myself in trouble, bam, 10 ball.
So 23 players remain in the hunt for the top prize of almost $900,000. Welcome back to Atlantic City and the Trump Taj Mahal. Action continuing here at the featured table. Dylan Membrino has raised it up to 23,000 chips with ace-queen. Devin Miller considering his action with king-5.
Yes. How much more is it?
14,000.
14,000 more.
And Miller, who loves to be aggressive, will make the
It's not
call
real money, it's just chips right now.
with the suited king. And these two will go to the flop. Miller trailing the ace of Dylan Membrino. And now the flop is ace-jack 7. Membrino tightens his grip, pairing that ace. Miller checks.
25.
Membrino never plays online. Imagine that. Says there are too many donkeys.
And he bets 25,000 to 21-year-old Devin Miller, and he'll make the call with one yellow chip.
Devin completely missed the flop line, and he seems to be looking for trouble again.
Turn card now is a 9. That may keep Miller around. He's got a diamond flush draw.
I'm on.
Yeah, he'll stay around all in. Wow.
Well, just on a draw, Miller hoping Membrino doesn't want to risk his tournament life on a marginal hand. Miller hoping Membrino has something like middle pair or is on a draw. Membrino, of course, has top pair.
As you mentioned, Membrino, the shorter of the two stacks.
I'm pot committed. I call.
And he will risk everything, and he's got to sweat the river. He's ahead, though.
Membrino, a 4-1 favorite, going to the river for his tournament life.
Come on, baby.
He's got to like that Devin Miller was a little footloose and fancy-free there.
Nice angle. Keep it black. Keep it black. Keep it black.
Great shot for Dylan Membrino to double up right near. Needs to avoid a diamond on the river.
Membrino started the hand with just over 117,000. He knows that doesn't buy you much this late in the tournament. Hoping to double that up. One card to come. It's red, but it's a heart. So Membrino will double up. Thankful to the loose play of Devin Miller.
Devin bluffing off a bunch of chips right there.
Ouch.
You say ouch too often, and it's over.
All right, from the arena back to the Taj Poker Room. 3 players in the hand. Michael DiMichele with pocket aces has the lead. Stephen Faraka with 10-9 offsuit, and Alex Jacob with 8-7 offsuit. To the flop, it is 8-6 Jack. DiMichele's aces are still best. Jacob with a pair of 8s and an up and down straight draw for Faraka, who checks.
Faraka, the old gun in this trio. He's 47 against the 2 21-year-olds. Action now to DiMichele.
DiMichele with the pocket aces. And he'll make it 25,000 to stay in the hand.
Alex has middle pair with a bad kicker.
And his patented thoughtful look before putting chips in the pot, he calls.
And now Faraka must decide whether he wants to play his up and down straight draw.
And quickly gets out of the hand. So heads up, Jacob and DiMichele to the turn. Turn card is a 7 and 2 pair and the lead for Jacob.
And Faraka had played it close to the vest. If he had taken off the vest and played, he would have made the nut straight right now with a chance to take a big pot off these guys.
As it is, he is a spectator. DiMichele first to act with pocket aces. A lot of small cards on the board. 60,000 chips from DiMichele.
And a quick glance over to Alex Jacob. And this is a great spot for Alex. He knows almost certainly his 2 pair is the best hand.
Two-fisted raise from Jacob. Another 90,000 back to DiMichele.
Another stare. And this is where that busted bluff from Alex earlier plays to his advantage. Because DiMichele thinks he might be making a play right here again. He looked at him again and again.
DiMichele thinks he's got a read on Jacob and makes the call, but he's in trouble.
He's still looking at you, Alex. Stare back.
River card is a 9, no help to DiMichele. Jacob earns the check mark with a 2 pair.
Yeah, that 9's scary. Either one could have a straight.
They both check. DiMichele thinks he's got it, but no, he does not.
That's tough to take if you're DiMichele. And he's going to have Jacob behind him all day long and probably all night long in his nightmares dreams.
So Michael DiMichele takes a hit. He's down to 424,000 chips, giving those chips to the tournament leader.
Tough turn card, kid.
Alex Jacob now over 800,000.
That card on the end might have saved you another 150.
So a tough hand for Michael DiMichele, but rest assured this 21-year-old is a player, no matter what the stakes or even the game. In this case, a cash game of Monopoly is just par for the course.
I've been playing games like all my life, strategy games.
Land on boardwalk and football. All right, next time.
In this game in particular, like someone's going to win 10,000. I've played with these guys on several occasions, and a lot of them are just poker friends. You know, we hang out a lot, and we like to gamble on random things like this and just have a good time.
And now the game of poker has Michael's full attention.
Well, I've been playing poker for a few years now. Eventually, I found out that I would be able to make it as a professional, so I dedicated myself to it that way. The times where you're on your game and you just you're thinking clearly and you know what everyone's doing. Those are great moments, you know. You know, they've been getting lucky today, but you know, in the long run, I'm going to get the reads on them. I'm going to outplay them.
DiMichele went straight from high school to the poker table, says college was a fallback if he couldn't make it in poker.
Michael and Alex hooked up once again going to the river. Michael with a pair of 7s and a gut shot straight draw bet 6,000 to Jacob.
And on the turn, Alex Jacob just splashing around, stumbled into an up and down straight draw himself.
And he skims off the top of that huge chip stack and makes the call.
So it's the guy who went straight from high school to the felt against the guy who went to Yale.
River 8, both with the straight, but DiMichele's his best, and he gets the check mark.
Now, the problem here for Alex is he made the butt end of the straight, and he may want to end up calling this bet.
9,000 chips from DiMichele.
Alex had no business in this hand to begin with. He was just a bored Ivy League graduate, and now he stumbled into a losing straight.
I'm not gonna fold. I was trying to think if there was value in a raise, but I call.
Ali does make the call.
There would have been value in a fold.
DiMichele will take the pot.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, DiMichele back on the uptick, over 440,000 chips. A little hit to the chip stack of our tournament leader, but I don't think he's bleeding too badly.
Guess there's no value in a raise, huh?
Still, DiMichele and Jacob trading body punches at the moment.
It is a young man's game at the 2006 United States Poker Championship.
One small step from getting my 150 back.
Michael DiMichele making a bid for the overall lead, but it is Alex Jacob leading the way right now. We'll be back to Atlantic City in just a moment. Welcome back to the Trump Taj Mahal. Chris Reslok and Alex Jacob hooked up in a hand after the flop. Jacob at 4,000 to Reslok.
Doesn't Alex always seem to be behind in the hand and betting?
He does, but it is Reslok who was betting here. And Reslok puts together 22,000 chips.
Nice.
Reslok with middle pair. Alex just on the draw.
Reslok jousting with the dominating tournament chip leader here.
Alex says playing online is more of a job and tournaments are more of a vacation for him. He always seems to be quite serious on vacation, though.
It's working. Jacob throws in 54,000 and immediately all in for Reslok and a call.
Raise, I got a draw.
Well, Alex knew exactly where he was at. He knows he's in a coin flip situation, and he's got a shot to knock out another player.
Reslok had to move, getting short on chips. He needed to accumulate some ammunition to move forward. And he's ahead as we go to the turn. It is a 3, and Reslok stays ahead, but he's not out of the woods yet.
Small and black.
Now, the tournament leader, Alex Jacob, still can knock out Chris Reslok with a queen or a 5 on the river.
And it is a queen on the river. Jacob wins the hand, knocking off Reslok.
Leading a charmed life today.
Chris Reslok leaves this tournament in 23rd place.
If I'd have just simply pushed all in, I would have gotten him off the hand. I gave him some room to maneuver, gave him some false hope that he might get me off the hand. I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have just pushed all in.
Let's go to the outer table now, where Syracuse Chris Sipralidis has just moved all in. 3 clubs on board. Jeff King makes the call. Syracuse Chris all in with pocket 8s, going against the pocket 9s of King. But Syracuse Chris has a club, and a club hits the river, and Syracuse Chris gets the flush on the river to double up to over 220,000.
Syracuse Chris, the last World Series bracelet winner left in this USPC field. And I swear, Alon, Syracuse Chris cashes in a poker tournament like every 4 days of every year.
He's like an online player. Maybe he's playing 3 or 4 at a time. All right, back to the arena feature table. 3 players going to the flop. Jordan Morgan, Devin Miller, Dylan Membrino. And now the flop is 7-5-6. Morgan comes up golden, flopping the nuts straight. 8. He checks. Miller with top pair and a straight draw loves to bet. He bets 20,000.
Devin likes to mix it up, but he's looking for trouble, Lon. And this is a hand where he might end up saying ouch again.
Membrino gets out of the way. So the raise back to Jordan Morgan.
Taking his time. He got Miller to bet, and Jordan using Miller's aggression against him here.
And Morgan will put in a raise to 60,000. Hoping Miller figures he's just trying to posture with a big stack.
Well, I don't think Devin Miller's folding here. He started with rags, and he hit part of a raggedy flop. He might believe he has the best hand and the best draw here. You know, it's a good thing that Devin likes golfing girls, because he's going to have time for them if he keeps playing this hand, Lon.
It would cost him 40,000 more to call the raise of Jordan Morgan. And, of course, Morgan with the chip lead, so Devin Miller's playing with fire right here.
At the moment, he's playing with his chips, trying to figure out where he stands with his remaining stack.
All right, let's ship it in.
Wow, the remaining stack goes into the pot, all in, and a call.
Ouch.
Ouch indeed. Devin Miller with top pair, and the draw runs into the nuts.
Way to donk out of the tournament.
Devin's self-analysis is piercing.
Is that a tough call?
Marginally.
All right, the turn card now is a 9-2 pair for Miller.
He needs a 9 or a 7 for a full house. An 8 puts us straight on the board, and they'd split the pot. Otherwise, Devin is done.
River card is a king, and that will end the tournament for Devin Miller in shocking fashion. And that is a hand he will not forget about for a long time.
Bang, bang. He went out in a hurry.
Take care, man.
He's going to hate himself in the morning.
Devin Miller was a player to be feared early on, but now goes out meekly.
That was ugly. That was really ugly.
He hates himself already.
And Jordan Morgan is the beneficiary of Miller's loose play there, and that win puts him into the tournament lead with well over 800,000 chips.
I deserve to get knocked out. I played like a couple hands like a moron. Like I played so good the last couple days. It's really a shame that I did some stupid stuff. Hopefully, I got it out of my system for tournaments to come. But I don't know. I'm a little disappointed in how I played. There's no reason to get all my chips in there.
Miller will be much more dangerous in the future. We're down to 21 in Atlantic City. Back at the USPC, a two-horse race for the tournament lead. There's Alex Jacob in second place with 813,000, trailing Jordan Morgan just by a few thousand. An example of a short stack, Bernie Lee there on the left.
Bernie Lee plays a short stack like Stradivarius plays a violin. He told me to say that line.
Eric Cagelet on the button raised it to 10,000 with Queen Jack. With a small blind, Michael DiMichele with a suited ace makes the call. And Alex Jacob, does he want to play the king? No.
Well, once in a while, he takes a hand off and pauses to read some Freud.
So Cagelet with his Queen Jack trailing the ace-6 of Michael DiMichele as these two go to the flop. And the flop is ace, jack, 7. DiMichele pairs his ace and checks.
Cagelet paired his jack. And with DiMichele checking, that would signal to Cagelet that DiMichele does not have an ace, and it's safe to bet. Of course, he has his signals crossed. DiMichele does have an ace.
And Cagelet with his middle pair will make it 16,000 to play.
I don't know how they ever figure out what the other guy has. I can't do it. and see, if you're DiMichele, you're playing a weak ace, so how can you be sure Cagelet doesn't have an ace with a better kicker?
DiMichele studies Cagelet and makes the call.
I'm sticking to Pinochle.
You still owe me $675 from last weekend.
All right, heads up to the turn.
So these two will go to the turn. Turn card now is a king, and Cagelet picks up a straight draw.
DiMichele's aces are still best.
DiMichele checked it. Cagelet will check now and slow down a little bit with the king on board. River card is a deuce, and that does give the check mark to DiMichele. His aces are best.
Now, DiMichele might think it's safe to bet his aces and get a call from a hand like Queen Jack. Heck, he probably knew his hand was best from Jump Street, for all I know.
DiMichele
28,000 is
makes it 28,000 now to Cagelet.
And if I'm Cagelet, I'm confused. I mean, DiMichele didn't bet the flop when the ace came out. He didn't bet the king on the turn. I don't know if I'm beat or not.
He has a pair of jacks.
Call.
And makes the call. And DiMichele shows him the aces.
Cagily played by the 21-year-old, and he gets Cagelet to pay him off.
So Michael DiMichele working his way back up the ladder. He's in the higher rungs. He's got 479,000. Back to the arena featured table. Brandon Adams has straight and flush draws. He checks it over to Karate Mike Santoro, has a pair of 10s. Santoro will make it 25,000, and Brandon moves all in.
And like Scott Fishman, Brandon Adams all in on just a draw, but this is an incredibly good draw, flush draw and straight draw. Santoro's 10s are best right now. Adams with the better drawing hand.
I call.
Call. And Santoro will make the call and put Brandon Adams at risk. As Santoro claps his hands, he does have the pair of 10s, but Brandon Adams, as you mentioned, with a monster draw, Norman.
Pair of 10s, though, right now, a slight underdog to hold off Brandon Adams.
Deuce clubs. Deuce clubs.
Santoro wants to keep him low. Turn card, 3 of diamonds. Karate Mike with a diamond flush draw.
That's bad news for Adams.
Be really nice, Carlos.
Brandon Adams now going to need a spade or a non-diamond 8, jack, or king, or he is done.
And now the river card is a 10, and that gives Santoro winning trips. And Brandon Adams is bankrupt and out of this USPC.
Oh, somebody should tell him.
Santoro over 500,000 chips. To the outer table, once again, we find Herbie Montalbano pushing in the remainder of his chips. He had 45,000 left. Shane Schlager makes the call with ace-queen. Herbie has a king-10. The board is out there 3-4-5 with a turn card to come. It is a deuce, and Schlager hits a winning wheel on the turn, and Herbie Montalbano is gone.
Good luck, guys.
Montalbano will finish in 20th place and take a prize of over $25,000 back home to New Orleans, done in by Shane Schlager.
I think of all the tournaments I've played in, and it's been several, the structure here is impeccable. It's better than any place I've ever been. It gives you an opportunity to play cards. You don't have to do so much gambling. I mean, even today, coming in as one of the short stacks with 75 plus, you know, I didn't have to force anything, but once the blinds start going up a little bit more, I mean, it was inevitable. I had to make a move sooner or later.
Back to the poker room feature table. DiMichele and Cagelet hooked up again. Cagelet has the lead. He flopped a pair of kings. DiMichele, 4 hearts to a flush. Queen of spades on the turn keeps Cagelet in the lead.
Man, Cagelet's got some guns on him. He's in the wrong sport.
And the man from Montreal reaching for chips.
15,000.
Seems so light to him, too. 15,000.
15,000. Oh, my God.
DiMichele with the raise to him. He's second best, looking for another heart.
Second best is also worst.
He is going to raise it up to 45,000 total.
And the big stack trying to bully the bodybuilder.
Cagelet wastes little time and makes the call.
Well, Cagelet can't love his hand, but I would have thought that was an all-in or a fold situation. He doesn't have many chips left.
10 of diamonds, no flush for DiMichele, so the check mark next to Cagelet's name, he checks.
DiMichele can either give it up or take a stab.
Olin. That's a stab.
Whoa. And this would be for all of Cagelet's chips, and just not a lot of hands he can beat. He can beat a busted flush draw, but if his opponent has an ace, he's beat, or the jack for the straight.
Straight or nothing. One or the other, huh? Hey, I call.
He calls it.
Straight or nothing?
It is nothing.
It's nothing, right? It's nothing, right? Nice!
Cagelet will take it. He went with his gut, and it paid off.
Well, maybe weightlifting does help you make the right reads. Good job.
So Eric Cagelet takes some chips off the bigger stack. Cagelet now over 237,000. It's about 440 Canadian. We'll come back to the United States Poker Championship in Atlantic City right after this. Welcome back to the Trump Taj Mahal. Let's go out to the featured table in the Taj Poker Room. 3 players going to the flop. Alex Jacob leading with his ace-queen. Eric Cagelet with a suited 6-5. And Augustine Mendez with ace-jack. And let's see our flop. It is Jack 8 deuce. Mendez gets the best of that, pairing his jack. Alex Jacob first to act. He checks.
Mendez sits on his top pair, and Cagelet checks behind him.
Turn card is a 4 of spades. Cagelet gets a straight draw and a flush draw. In fact, a straight flush draw. Mendez still leads. Jacob got nothing, and he checks. Mendez now with top pair will bet 50,000.
50,000.
And for Cagelet, this is what we call an implied odd situation. And he will call. Cagelet was figuring how much money he'd make if he hits his hand and gets paid off on the river. It's a concept really pretty much above both of our heads.
Yeah, I agree. Jacob folded, so they'll be heads up. Cagelet and Mendez going to the river. Mendez with the advantage, but not anymore. A spade on the river gives Cagelet the flush and the check mark.
Mendez has jacks up, and he checked.
80,000.
80,000. So that
Cagelet makes it 80,000.
And it's a tough decision for Mendez. You know, I'd have a hard time putting Cagelet on an 8 or a backdoor flush. And the thing is, if Mendez had bet the flop, Cagelet couldn't have called. But he slow played his best pair.
So now Mendez, big decision.
Call.
And he makes the call, and he'll hate to see the cards of Eric Cagelet.
And Mendez really just mad at himself more than anything.
80,000 first.
He misplayed that hand. And it's now Cajolet, the one pumping some iron, huh?
Indeed, on a rush, continuing to increase his stack over 414,000 now for the Canadian pro. Let's jump back to the Taj Arena now, where Jordan Morgan is considering the raise of Karate Mike Santoro. Mark Ader is already in the hand.
I priced him in.
He did.
That's another concept you and I never consider pricing, and we just either throw our chips in or we fold.
Yes, that's about it. Santoro with the advantage with the suited ace-10. Morgan also with an ace, and the flop is 3-9 queen. That hits nobody.
You got that right. Nobody hits the flop, and nobody wants the pot.
Turn card now is a king, and that strengthens Santoro, giving him a straight draw.
Of course, Santoro's ace-10 right now is the best hand anyway, but not a whole lot out there for any of the three players.
Morgan checks again, as do Santoro and Ader. River is a jack, and Santoro with the check mark hitting Broadway. Morgan to act first.
And he's going to take a stab at this at the wrong time.
As the tournament chip leader, he can't afford to do it. He'll make it 30,000 to Santoro.
Santoro just trying to decide how much he will raise. His hand can't be beat.
Raise.
And I guarantee you, as soon as Santoro said raise, Jordan Morgan was thinking, okay, let's move on to the next hand.
75,000. Ader's out. Jordan Morgan.
He'll be gone.
And yes, indeed, Jordan Morgan folds.
You never let me down.
Karate Mike and his ace-10 take the pot, and Mike Santoro at 628,000 chips is in third place at this USPC. Back now to the Taj Poker Room, and two players are going to the flop. It is Michael DiMichele with ace-jack and Augustine Mendez with king-jack. Now the flop, it's ace-king 3. Both players pair their top card. DiMichele's aces, of course, are best.
Check.
Mendez checked.
Mendez, a big cash game player here in Atlantic City. His best game is Omaha 8 or better. He plays 80, 160, and higher. I'm a 4-8 Omaha player.
A little safer. DiMichele will bet, though, 18,000 to Mendez. And Mendez wastes no time in making the call. He paired his king, but it's second best to the aces of DiMichele. And now the turn card. 10 of hearts. DiMichele's aces are still good, but Mendez collects a fourth heart.
Mendez is a straight flush draw. We never muck a straight flush draw, do we, Lon?
We never do that.
Oh, do you don't have to find out whether he would have because they both checked.
River card is a 5 of hearts. Mendez finds life, hitting the flush.
Well, this time DiMichele let Mendez get there, just like Mendez checked and let Cajolet make a hand.
30,000.
Mendez will make it 30,000, and a wince from DiMichele.
And he should wince because Mendez is a pretty tight player. By the way, if DiMichele had bet the turn, Mendez was going to call this time, so it's not the same as that previous situation with Mendez and Cajolet. Tough call here.
4 hearts on the board, and he will make the call.
Flush. Jack high.
DiMichele could not get away from it, and Augustine Mendez rivered the flush and takes down the pot. Mendez getting a little healthier now, 217,000 chips. Michael DiMichele in a rough patch down to 355,000. From the poker room to the arena table now with two players already in the hand ahead of him. Dan Shack moves all in with pocket queens. Harry White is next to act. Mark Ader and Dylan Membrino are already in the hand.
And Harry shakes his head at every hand he sees. And I wonder if there's a cigar repair shop here at the Taj.
He folds. Kings for Morgan.
All in.
And Morgan pushes. This is our degree all-in moment. Dan Shack will be at risk with his queens against the kings. Membrino and Ader fold and will be heads up to the flop.
And so it's Shack versus Morgan. Shack's tournament life at risk. And Dan Shack with his head on the Jordan Morgan chopping block here, Lon. Morgan is a very efficient butcher.
So Jordan Morgan with the pocket kings, and he likes his position against Dan Shack and the queens.
Shack is motionless, and remember, Mark Ader already folded a queen, so that's more bad news for Dan Shack.
Jordan Morgan has been running very strong here at the USPC, and he's about to run over another player in Dan Shack. And now here comes the flop. It is 7, ace, 7. Morgan's kings are still best.
Shaq seems to be in a very peaceful place over there. He's still looking for a queen or runner diamonds to stay alive.
Now the turn card. It is a 4 of diamonds, and Shaq not going down without a fight.
Shaq needs the last queen in the deck or any diamond but the king. Otherwise, his tournament is over.
River card. It is a diamond, and Shaq survives, getting the degree check mark.
Feels it coming.
Dan Shaq hitting the flush on the river to double up through Jordan Morgan.
And this is the second time in the tournament Shaq has come from behind against Morgan to take down a big pot.
Dan Shaq wins one for the old guys.
The Degree All-In Moment is brought to you by Degree. Protects men who take risks.
Back in Atlantic City, we pick up play in the Taj Poker Room after 4th Street. Michael DiMichele has 2 pair, jacks over 8s, to lead the pair of aces being held by Alex Jacob. DiMichele will make it $26,000 to stay in the hand.
$26,000.
Again, 21-year-old against 21-year-old. And the great thing about Alex is that when he's like 71 years old, he'll move just as slowly and deliberately as he does today. Of course, we all might be 71 years old by the time Alex acts on his hand.
DiMichele wanting to get something going. He is fighting through an unlucky streak. And Alex robotically moves in the call.
Congratulations on the call. You're behind.
To the river we go. And the river card is a 4, pairs the board, and that gives Jacob aces up and a check mark.
Alex slowly took the lead.
Oh, DiMichele betting $45,000.
Now, you just got a feel for DiMichele with Alex behind him all day. It's like when you're running a long-distance race. If someone's on your shoulder right behind you, it just wears you out mentally.
Why'd you bluff that card, though?
Well, you lay this down if you think you're beat, obviously, but I'd call him here, not just on the off chance you win the hand, but it would be another brutal blow for DiMichele's psyche.
So Jacob with a chance to push DiMichele further into his downward spiral. Jacob makes the call. DiMichele now sees his cards are not good enough. He comes up second best again.
Frustration etched on DiMichele's face.
Alex Jacob takes the pot. DiMichele cannot get off his slippery slope. Back into the Taj Arena. Karate Mike Santoro with ace-king making the call of an 80,000 chip raise from Jordan Morgan. Morgan just with king 10.
Santoro, local favorite here. The Taj is his home casino.
And he'll carry a 3-1 advantage to the flop. And now the flop. King, deuce, queen. The king hits both, but Santoro's ace gives him a huge lead over Morgan.
200.
And he comes out with 200,000.
That's a big bet, but he's correctly assessed it. Top pair, top kicker. He loves it.
Trying to take a huge chunk of chips from this chip leader.
All in.
Oh, I'm not sure Santoro counted on that.
Boy, Jordan Morgan is dominated in the hand, but he's gone all in, forcing Santoro to make a decision for all his chips.
Jordan Morgan, the 22-year-old Oklahoman, coolly sits while Santoro twists.
That's huge. That's a huge. I can, like, cripple you if I win this hand.
We know Santoro has Morgan dominated, but when you're sitting there and it's for all your chips, it's tough to make a decision. I mean, you could have run into a set. It's just tough to put all your chips in.
Can you beat a set? You're not going to answer, are you?
Karate Mike trying to get some information.
You do that with ace-king?
Yeah, he's figuring it's either a set or maybe a draw. Of course, it's neither. It's an inferior king.
This is sick. This is really sick.
This is the tournament for both of them right here. Mike was right. If he calls, he could cripple Jordan Morgan and put himself in a terrific position to make a second straight USPC final table with a boatload of chips.
You just gave your hand away. Your set of queens is good.
Santoro folds, thinking Morgan has a set of queens.
He actually showed his ace-king.
Karate Mike lost almost half his stack, and Jordan Morgan is the first player over 1 million chips.
Didn't have a set of queens.
Set of kings?
And aces.
Santoro decomposes, and the babyface killer lies.
Karate Mike with a catastrophic misread.
That's a professional fold, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the world of professional poker.
When Santoro sees that hand on TV, he's going to need professional help.
Incredible. To the Taj Poker Room now. Bernard Lee is all in and trailing.
Kids, I did the best I could.
3-5 all in.
And he's got his kids there. Plenty of kisses planted on those pictures.
Yeah, you got it cool. Yeah.
Not doing anything.
Mendez has Lee as a 2-to-1 underdog right now.
I don't think 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds.
And this tournament line, you should get 20,000 chips and a complimentary ironing board. Outside of my closet, I've never seen so many wrinkled shirts.
All right, here's the flop. Lee at risk. It's queen 4 jack. Mendez gets his queen. Lee paired his jack, but still trails. These pictures of his kids have brought him a lot of good luck over the years. He needs help here. That's a blank on the turn. Bernard Lee down to his last chance.
And Lee with one more lucky kiss to his family. He's going to need a king or a jack, or he is gone.
The river is a 10, and that misses Lee. He will head for the rail, knocked out in 19th place, earned $25,317.
Great job by Bernie Lee. With 45 players left, he was 43rd in chips. He just hangs around like crabgrass.
So with 18 players left, the top dog by far is young Jordan Morgan with 1,174,000 chips, more than double that of second place Alex Jacob, who owns 540,500. Still a long haul to the finish line, though, and even the vanquished contestants are finding it hard to pick a winner.
It's really right now still anyone's ball game.
For Norman Chan, I'm Lon McCarran. See you next time from the United States Poker Championship.